The vast emptiness of space trembled with a desperate signal. Jay Park, a seasoned communications officer at Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station, noticed something unusual flickering across his screen. A transmission unlike any he had seen before was breaking through multiple frequency barriers. The signal was chaotic, fragmented, but unmistakably intelligent. Layers of compressed data revealed glimpses of a civilization in absolute terror. Strange alien symbols and fractured language patterns spoke of imminent destruction. Something massive and violent was hunting them. "Commander," Jay called out, his voice cutting through the quiet monitoring room. "We've got an incoming transmission from outside our known communication ranges." Commander Lisa Rodriguez moved quickly, her experienced eyes scanning the incoming data. The transmission originated from a region of space humans had never directly explored. Advanced signal processing systems began decoding the message, revealing a story of horror. The transmission came from a species calling themselves the Xyrax Confederation. They were not a warrior race. Their civilization was built on diplomacy, scientific exploration, and peaceful coexistence. But now, they were facing complete annihilation. Detailed visual records accompanied the transmission. Massive warships moved like predatory shadows across alien landscapes. Entire planetary systems were being systematically destroyed. The invading force, identified as the Krull Imperium, showed no mercy. They didn't conquer planets, they erased them. Jay watched as holographic reconstructions showed entire civilizations being reduced to cosmic dust. Millions of alien lives vanished in moments. The Xyrax were sending this transmission as their final act of desperation, a call for help from anyone who might listen. "This is beyond a distress signal," Commander Rodriguez muttered. "This is a final testament." The transmission contained geographical coordinates, technological specifications of the attacking force, and desperate pleas for intervention. The Xyrax explained they had no military capabilities. Their civilization was built on research, art, and philosophical understanding. They had never developed serious defensive technologies. The Krull, in contrast, were pure destruction incarnate. Their entire cultural and biological framework was centered on conquest. They didn't just want territory. They wanted complete elimination of any potential future resistance. Their warships were living machines, part biological, part mechanical, designed with a singular purpose of total extermination. Most intriguing was the way the transmission was structured. The Xyrax had broadcast their call across multiple frequencies, hoping some advanced civilization would intercept and potentially help. They didn't know about humans. To them, Earth was just another potential listening point in the vast cosmic network. Jay's hands moved across the control panel, isolating different data streams. Each fragment told a more terrifying story. The Krull had already destroyed 14 planetary systems. Trillions of lives had been eliminated in what seemed like moments. "We need to show this to the UN Security Council," Commander Rodriguez said firmly. "This isn't just another alien transmission. This is a potential extinction-level event." The monitoring station buzzed with sudden activity. Technicians who moments ago were bored were now processing the most significant extraterrestrial communication in human history. What the Xyrax didn't know, what they couldn't possibly understand, was the nature of human beings. Humanity had its own complex history of conflict. They had fought wars across their own planet, developed technologies of incredible destructive potential, and survived multiple near-extinction events. The transmission ended with a haunting message. Translated roughly, it meant, "To whoever receives this, we are the last. Help us or remember us." Jay Park looked at Commander Rodriguez. No words were needed. They both understood that humanity's response would define not just their own future, but potentially the future of countless civilizations. The clock was ticking. The Krull were moving. And somewhere in the dark vastness of space, the last survivors of the Xyrax Confederation were waiting for a response that might never come. Little did they know, humanity was about to answer their call in a way no one could have predicted. The United Nations emergency session transformed from a typical diplomatic gathering into a war room. Representatives from every major nation watched the decoded Xyrax transmission, their faces a mix of shock and determination. Admiral Hyun Choi stood at the center of the room, his presentation revealing the full scale of the potential threat. Holographic displays showed the Krall's technological capabilities, their systematic destruction, and the complete vulnerability of the Xyrax civilization. "We are not looking at a simple invasion," Hyun explained. "This is a systematic genocide of galactic proportions." Scientists and military strategists worked around the clock. The transmission had provided unexpected technical data about the Krall's weapon systems, and human engineers were already developing countermeasures. Computer networks across the world connected, creating the most extensive collaborative research project in human history. Universities emptied as top minds were recruited. Physicists, engineers, mathematicians, and military strategists worked in sealed facilities. They knew they were designing something more than just a defensive strategy. They were creating humanity's first true interstellar combat response. Prototype weapons emerged quickly. Quantum-locked defense systems that could absorb and redirect energy weapons. Adaptive AI-controlled combat networks that could process battle scenarios faster than any biological intelligence. Battleships designed not just to fight, but to survive in the most hostile environments imaginable. Global military budgets were immediately redirected. Trillions of dollars that once went into terrestrial conflicts now focused on a single goal: preparing for potential extraterrestrial warfare. Manufacturing centers transformed overnight. Factories that once produced consumer goods now created components for massive starships. The world's governments understood something profound. This wasn't just about saving the Xyrax. This was about humanity's first real test on the galactic stage. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a quantum physics expert, developed a breakthrough in faster-than-light travel technology. Her calculations showed how human ships could move through space in ways the Krall couldn't predict. "We're not just going to fight," she told her team. "We're going to redefine the rules of space combat." Military training changed dramatically. Soldiers were no longer trained for ground warfare, but for potential extraterrestrial combat. Simulations ran continuously, testing every possible scenario against the Krall's known technological capabilities. The first prototype of the Vengeance Armada took shape in Earth's orbital shipyards. It wasn't just a fleet, it was a statement. Each ship was designed to be a mobile weapon platform, capable of independent decision-making and adaptive combat strategies. Public response was unexpected. Instead of fear, there was a global sense of purpose. News networks ran continuous updates about the potential alien threat. People understood that this was humanity's moment to prove its worth on a cosmic scale. Young recruits volunteered in unprecedented numbers. Military academies were overwhelmed with applicants who wanted to be part of humanity's first interstellar defense force. The recruitment videos didn't just show military might. They showed a species united by a single purpose. Intelligence agencies worked to understand more about the Krall. Every piece of data from the Xyrax transmission was analyzed, reanalyzed, and cross-referenced. They weren't just preparing for a war. They were developing a comprehensive understanding of an alien civilization's combat methodology. Psychological warfare teams developed communication strategies. If contact was made, humanity needed to send a clear message: we are not a species to be trifled with. The world had changed in months. What started as a mysterious transmission had transformed human civilization. Old conflicts seemed meaningless. National boundaries blurred. For the first time in human history, the entire species was united by a single goal. Admiral Hyun Choi looked at the final designs of the Vengeance Armada. These weren't just ships. They were humanity's first ambassadors to a universe that had no idea what was coming. "We're ready," he whispered to himself, watching the massive ships take shape against the backdrop of Earth's orbit. The Krall were about to learn a fundamental truth about humanity. When threatened, this species didn't just fight back. They transformed warfare itself. The darkness of space erupted with light as the human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel. Lieutenant Wu Jin stood on the bridge of the Eternal Guardian, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. The Krail fleet didn't know what was coming. Alien sensor systems struggled to comprehend the sudden appearance of these unknown vessels. The human ships were unlike anything in their database, sleek, aggressive, with weapon systems that seemed to defy known physics. Target acquisition complete, the ship's AI announced. Its voice was calm, almost bored. The first volley of human weapons struck with surgical precision. Quantum-locked energy beams sliced through Krail battleships like they were made of paper. Where traditional military forces might hesitate, the human fleet showed no mercy. Wu Jin watched as entire Krail formations disintegrated. Their shields, once considered impenetrable, collapsed under the advanced human technology. It wasn't just about firepower. It was about complete technological superiority. Communication intercepts revealed total confusion among the Krail commanders. They had never encountered a species that could adapt so quickly in combat. Every defensive strategy they attempted was neutralized within moments. The battle wasn't just a confrontation. It was a demonstration. Smaller human fighter craft moved with impossible precision, piloted by AI systems that could process millisecond-level decisions. They danced between massive Krail ships, destroying critical systems with pinpoint accuracy. These are not random attacks, Wu Jin explained to his second-in-command. We're systematically dismantling their entire combat infrastructure. Zirak's observation ships watched in silent amazement. The species that had sent a desperate transmission was now witnessing something beyond their comprehension. Humans weren't just fighting. They were rewriting the rules of space combat. Psychological warfare played a crucial role. Hacked Krail communication networks began broadcasting their own defeat. Strategic messages highlighted the futility of their resistance. It wasn't just about physical destruction. It was about breaking their will to fight. Advanced sensor systems mapped the Krail fleet's entire technological infrastructure. Each destroyed ship wasn't just a military loss. It was a data collection opportunity. Human strategists were learning, adapting, preparing for the next engagement. The battle lasted less than 3 standard hours. When it ended, the Krail fleet was reduced to expanding clouds of radioactive debris. No survivors. No mercy. Wu Jin reviewed the battle logs. The casualties were entirely on the Krail side. Not a single human ship had been seriously damaged. Message received, he muttered. Back on Earth, military command centers erupted in controlled celebration. This wasn't just a victory. This was a statement to the entire galaxy about humanity's true potential. Intercepted Krail communications revealed growing panic. Reports spread through their communication networks about the mysterious human fleet that had appeared from nowhere and destroyed their most advanced battle groups with terrifying ease. The Ziraks received detailed reports of the engagement. Their scientists struggled to understand the technology demonstrated by humans. Energy weapons that could penetrate any known shield. Faster than light travel that seemed to break fundamental laws of physics. Combat AI that could outthink biological commanders. Wu Jin knew this was just the beginning. The first counterattack was a message. Humanity would not be a passive species in the galactic community. They would be its protectors, its defenders, its most feared guardians. As the Eternal Guardian prepared for its next jump, Lieutenant Wu Jin allowed himself a small smile. The galaxy had just met humanity, and humanity had made its introduction unforgettable. The Krail Imperium was about to learn a fundamental truth. Some species are not meant to be conquered. Some species fight back. And humans, they did more than fight back. They redefined the very concept of warfare. Commander Yunyu stood on the bridge of the advanced battleship, her eyes cold and calculating. The human fleet had moved beyond simple military engagement. They were now conducting a comprehensive dismantling of the Krail Imperium's entire infrastructure. Intelligence wasn't just about fighting. It was about understanding and destroying an enemy's ability to resist. Quantum communication networks were hijacked. Every Krall communication channel became a weapon. Instead of military signals, their own networks began broadcasting images of total defeat. Strategic messages showed the futility of their resistance, breaking their psychological resolve. Supply lines disappeared first. Human ships didn't just destroy military targets, they eliminated everything. Manufacturing centers, resource collection stations, communication relays, all vanished with surgical precision. The Krall watched their entire civilization's support structure collapse in weeks. "We're not just fighting a war," Yum told her tactical team. "We're conducting a systematic elimination of their capacity to threaten anyone again." Advanced AI systems mapped every Krall system. Each destroyed facility was a data point. Each eliminated ship was a lesson learned. Humanity was writing a new manual of interstellar warfare, and the Krall were unwilling participants. The psychological impact was devastating. Krall military commanders realized they were facing a species that didn't just want to win. They'd wanted to send a message. Humanity would protect peaceful civilizations at any cost. Xerak's observation teams watched in a mixture of terror and fascination. The species they had desperately called for help was now demonstrating a level of military strategy beyond anything they could comprehend. Targeted broadcasts showed the Krall population their own inevitable defeat. Their leaders were revealed as incompetent. Their military strategy was exposed as fundamentally flawed. Every communication became a psychological weapon. Technological superiority wasn't just about weapons. It was about understanding and manipulating information. Human ships moved like ghosts through Krall space. They appeared without warning, destroyed critical infrastructure, and vanished before any meaningful response could be organized. It wasn't just warfare. It was a demonstration of total technological dominance. Resource collection centers were the first to fall. Without the ability to gather materials, the Krall's industrial capacity collapsed. Manufacturing centers that once produced thousands of warships per month were reduced to smoking ruins. "We're not eliminating them completely," Eon explained during a strategic briefing. "We're sending a message: threaten peaceful civilizations, and this is what happens." The Krall leadership began to fracture. Internal communications revealed growing panic. Their most advanced military minds were completely outmaneuvered. Every strategy they developed was predicted and neutralized before implementation. Artificial intelligence systems worked continuously. They didn't just fight. They learned. Each engagement provided data. Each destroyed Krall system was a lesson in potential future conflicts. Diplomatic channels remained open, but the message was clear. Humanity would not negotiate with species that threatened innocent civilizations. They would protect, they would defend, and they would do so with overwhelming force. The turning point wasn't a single battle. It was a complete transformation of the galactic understanding of warfare. Humanity had arrived, and they had brought a new definition of military strategy. Krall military commanders began communicating surrender terms, not because they wanted peace, but because they understood the alternative was complete elimination. Commander Yunyu watched the tactical displays. Each blinking light represented another system brought under control, another threat neutralized, another message sent to the galaxy. Humanity was not just a defensive species. They were guardians. And the galaxy was about to learn exactly what that meant. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as President Min Park walked in. Representatives from hundreds of alien civilizations watched, a mixture of fear and respect in their eyes. Humanity had changed everything. The Krall Imperium was no more. Not just defeated, but completely dismantled. Their leadership faced potential extinction, their technological infrastructure reduced to scattered remnants. What once was a feared conquering force now existed only in historical records. "We do not seek conquest," Min Park stated clearly. His words were simple, but carried the weight of humanity's recent demonstration of power. "We seek peace through absolute deterrence." Xerak's diplomatic representatives trembled slightly as they listened. The species that had sent a desperate transmission months ago now looked at humans with a combination of gratitude and profound respect. Advanced human diplomatic AI systems had already begun restructuring galactic communication protocols. Every peaceful civilization would now have a direct defense agreement with Earth. The message was clear: threaten the weak, and humanity would respond. Military analysts from various species studied humanity's combat strategies. The human approach wasn't just about winning battles. It was about preventing future conflicts through overwhelming demonstration of capability. Technological exchanges began. Humanity didn't just offer protection. They offered partnership. Advanced quantum communication networks, adaptive defense technologies, medical breakthroughs, all became potential shared resources. The first interstellar defense pact was signed, not through complex legal language, but through a simple understanding. Humanity would stand as guardians of peaceful civilizations. Intelligence reports continued to stream in. Potential threat zones were being monitored. The human fleet remained vigilant, a silent guardian watching the vast darkness of space. "We are not conquerors," Minpark repeated during the council session. "We are protectors." Alien civilizations that had previously lived in fear began to breathe easier. The cosmic bullies had been defeated. A new era of galactic cooperation was beginning. The Vengeance Armada remained in strategic positions, not as a threat, but as a promise. Any civilization threatening peaceful worlds would face the same fate as the Kraul. Technological research centers across human space worked continuously. Each piece of recovered Kraul technology was studied, understood, potentially adapted. Humanity was always preparing, always learning. Diplomatic channels opened with civilizations that had previously been isolated. Trade agreements, cultural exchanges, scientific collaborations. The human approach was comprehensive and thoughtful. The galactic community had fundamentally changed. Humanity had arrived not as conquerors, but as unexpected protectors. Their reputation was built not on aggression, but on a commitment to protecting the vulnerable. Young humans now looked to the stars with hope. Space was no longer a distant, frightening unknown. It was a place of potential, of discovery, of protection. The final Kraul leadership transmission was preserved in historical archives. It wasn't a declaration of surrender, but a recognition of complete defeat. Humanity had rewritten the rules of interstellar conflict. President Minpark watched the diplomatic proceedings. Each agreement, each communication was another step towards a more stable galactic community. The Zirax, the civilization that had sent the original desperate transmission, now stood as humanity's closest allies. Their research capabilities combined with human defensive technologies created unprecedented opportunities for scientific advancement. Intelligence reports continued to flow. Potential future threats were identified, analyzed, prepared for. The human approach was always the same: be ready, be vigilant, protect the vulnerable. As the Galactic Council session concluded, one thing became clear: humanity was no longer just an emerging species. They were the guardians of peace, the defenders of the defenseless. The galaxy had changed, and humanity had changed it. One final message remained unspoken but understood by all: threaten peace, and we will respond.